Hello Dogs fans, welcome to another episode of After the Dogs Roar for season 2017. A lot to get through. Let's have a look at the episode agenda for today's episode. I'm going to start the show by overviewing our last JLT Community Series game, which was against the Gold Coast Suns away from home at Metricon Stadium. Looking forward to wrapping up that game and, well, looking forward to moving on from the pre-season series onto the season proper. It's fair to say that, of course, also coming up, an overview of the AFLW Round 6 clash against the Brisbane Lions. That one also away from home. I'll then have a look at the Round 6 votes for the After the Dogs Roar AFLW Best and Fairest Award. That is my votes there. And then after that, a look at where we stand on the AFLW ladder before getting into the AFLW Round 7 clash v the GWS Giants. This is our final AFLW match of season 2017. Also going to remind you about something that's coming up on TV next week. And then to wrap up the show is the fan favourite segment, the 5 fan questions. Looking forward to getting stuck into that at the end of the show. So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into the episode. So in our final pre-season game, we travelled to Metricon Stadium in Queensland to take on the Gold Coast Suns. They had won both of their pre-season games, and we were coming up to Metricon Stadium without a win in the JLT Community Series. But that's okay because, of course, the pre-season series is not about winning. It's more about getting match fit and ready for the season proper. Now, this was a very fascinating game. In fact, the Suns really dominated us, I thought, in the first half. It was 11-2 to 136, the Gold Coast Suns leading at half-time. That was the score, and well, at three-quarter time, it was 14-6, the Gold Coast Suns to Western Bulldogs 2-6-9. So it's fair to say the Suns were dominating this game for most of the match scoreboard-wise. But, surprisingly, I guess, we were able to basically make a 70-point turnaround into a 21-point victory to us at the full-time siren. It was absolutely amazing, the comeback by the boys, and well, I guess you've got to be proud of our side because they continue to do some amazing things. And even though this was only a practice game, gee, it was an amazing comeback. They won by 21 points in the end. The final score, the Gold Coast Suns 16-9, 105, defeated by our side, the Western Bulldogs, 4 super goals, 13 goals, 12 behinds, 126. I think the super goals was where we won it in the end. Like 4 super goals, that's 4 9-pointers. That's quite a lot in a practice game. We were trailing 49 points late in the second term, so to turn it around and win the game was pretty remarkable. That's for sure. Let's go through the goal kickers. From our point of view, Stringer kick 3, Pick and kick 2, Hunter, Suckling, Cramery, McRae, Dalhouse, Liberatore, Jong and Bontempelli got singles. And then the best players from our side, Stringer, Dalhouse, Jong, Wood, Liberatore and Biggs. Now, Matthew Boyd suffered an ear injury. He was hospitalised and I think he had to undergo plastic surgery or something like that, but I'm sure he'll be fine and right for round 1 against Collingwood. So that is good signs there. Just over 3,000 people attended this match at Metricon Stadium to see what was a fantastic comeback from our boys. Well done. Okay, on now to the Round 6 AFLW clash. We were versing the Brisbane Lions on Saturday morning. This was at South Pine Complex, Sports Complex in Brisbane. And of course the Brisbane Lions undefeated coming into this game. Us, well, we hadn't won a game since round 1 against Fremantle. So it's fair to say we were desperate for a win coming into this game. Of course, we know that there's no chance we're going to make the grand final now. But, gee, just one win before the end of the season would be absolutely fantastic. And it was quite close in the first quarter. In fact, only 3 behinds were kicked between the two sides, with Brisbane kicking the most of those behinds. 2 behinds to 1 behind us, the Western Bulldogs. We were kept scoreless, however, in the second term, and the Brisbane Lions had a 2-6 to 1 behind lead. So not very good from our point of view. But well, we were able to keep the Brisbane Lions goalless in the third quarter. They only kicked 2 behinds, and we were able to kick 2 goals, 3 behinds in the third quarter to only trail by 4 points. The Brisbane Lions 2-8 to the Western Bulldogs 2-4. But in the end, the Lions were able to hold us off, and we were kept scoreless once again in this fourth term, and the Brisbane Lions won the match to keep themselves undefeated. Of course, they are going through to that grand final now, and I'm sure they're going to be hard to beat. The final score: the Brisbane Lions 2-11-23 defeated our mob, the Western Bulldogs, 2-4-16, in what was a very, very low scoring affair. And a very tight kind of game as well. We did keep in it, especially in the 3-quarter time break. Gave ourselves a bit of a chance going to the fourth term, but wasn't able to successfully win this game. So we still sit on the ladder with only 1 win. So let's go through the goal kickers. Of course, Lambert kicked the only 2 goals of the game from our side, and the best players, Carney, Lambert, Blackburn, Spark and Scott, all made up the best players. Lamb suffered a concussion in that game, and then just over 4,000 attended this game at the South Pine Sports Complex. So unfortunately our women's side losing again. Let's now have a look at my votes from this game. Okay, time now to have a look at my votes for the After the Dogs Raw AFLW Best and Fairest Award from the Round 6 match v the Brisbane Lions. Let's get into my 1 vote, and that goes to Jamie Lambert. She kicked 2 goals, the only 2 goals for our side in this match. She also had a handful of disposals with 12 disposals, as well as 9 kicks and 3 handballs to make up those disposals. So fantastic work by her. She gets 1 vote. I've given the 2 votes to Ellie Blackburn. She was terrific in this game as well. 17 disposals, 14 kicks and 3 handballs. And she kicked 2 behinds in this game. Of course, the behinds is not really why she's getting these 2 points. It's more about the amount of disposals and the amount of ball time she had throughout this game. And finally, the 3 votes for this Round 6 match for the Brisbane Lions goes to Emma Carney. She was fantastic. She had the most disposals once again in this match out of any of the players on the pitch. She had 30 disposals, which included 8 kicks and 22 handballs, and also 3 marks. She was outstanding. She's been outstanding for our side this year, and it's fair to say that she's been one of the best so far in this competition. Out of any of the players, she is definitely up there in the top 5 best players in the AFLW league so far. So that is my votes. Let's now get into the After the Dogs Raw AFLW Best and Fairest Leaderboard. It's a very tight leaderboard after round 6. Ellie Blackburn and Emma Carney are both level in first position with 14 votes each. Katie Brennan, Jamie Lambert, Christy Lamb and Hannah Scott are all level on third with 2 votes each. So I feel a bit of pressure in round 7 because, well, whatever votes I give in round 7 will make or break this leaderboard. It's probably it's definitely no doubt out of Emma Carney and Ellie Blackburn. So we'll have to wait and see how they perform in round 7 against the Giants. A very close leaderboard. Okay, let's have a look at where we stand on the AFLW ladder. It isn't a good look, unfortunately. In fact, I hope we get a win against the GWS Giants this week, because I do not want to finish on the bottom of the ladder. We are in 8th position. We have only won the one game, of course, which was round 1 against the Dockers at Whitten Oval. Of course, 5 losses, only the 4 points. Our percentage is not the lowest in the competition, but it's not the best percentage either, which is fair to say. Look, I hope we get a win against the Giants. Of course, they are 7th on the ladder, and so it will be I guess it will be a battle for who finishes last, I suppose, in terms of that match on Saturday. And speaking of the round 7 clash between the Giants and the Western Bulldogs, that game will be held on Saturday, the 18th of March, starting at 7:10 p.m. It will be at Manuka Oval in Canberra. You can watch all the action on Channel 7 and Fox Footy. A make or break game, this one. It's to avoid finishing last, getting the wooden spoon. Let's hope we win this game and finish above last on the ladder, because that would be better than actually finishing last. So repeating that game this Saturday, 7:10 p.m. at Manuka Oval, and you can watch all the action on Channel 7, free to air, and also Fox Footy as well. Okay, now before I get on to the 5 fan questions, I just want to make everyone aware of of an open mic special screening next Tuesday, the 21st of March, and that is it's a special open mic involving the Western Bulldogs. It's called The Western Bulldogs Against All Odds. It's a documentary type thing, and it looks, if you've seen the promos, it looks absolutely sensational. It involves Peter Gordon, some of the players. Dale Morris is in it, as well as a couple of others. I think Easton Wood is in it as well. They show Rowan Smith in the promo, so he'll be in it. Of course, Beveridge, our coach, will be in it as well. I think also Gillan McLaughlin is speaking as well, and they actually show him on the promo, saying that it's one of his best footy moments or something like that. So it's a must not miss program, this one. You cannot miss it. It is airing on Tuesday the 21st of March, so not this Tuesday but the next Tuesday, the Tuesday before our round 1 clash against Collingwood. It will start at 8:30 p.m. and will be on Fox Footy. So if you have Fox Footy, make sure you get tuned in 8:30 next Tuesday and watch this open mic special. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. It will be all about our grand final, our fantastic year last year. You won't want to miss it. Okay, time now to get into the fan favourite segment, and that is the 5 fan questions. This is where I pick the best 5 questions from you, the viewers, and answer them on the show. Let's get stuck into it by starting off with a question from Peter. He asks, what is it about the Bulldogs now that makes little kids want to barrack for them? Look, I just think it's the I think what makes kids these days barrack for the Western Bulldogs is just the inspiring journey that they went on last year. If you said at the end of the home and away season last year, with that loss to Fremantle, with all the injuries that went on, if anyone, there wouldn't have been many people who would have thought we would have done what we did, and that was go through the final series and be there on the last day and actually win that special trophy, considering the year we actually had last year. All the hurt, all the tough times, but then all the good times as well, and it was all worth it in the end, because we got to that day that we've wanted for so long. So I think it also teaches kids that anything's achievable. Everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people in the outside world, from the outside of the Western Bulldogs, even people inside the Western Bulldogs supporter base were doubting us at times last year, from our injuries and some crucial losses. So So I think that aspect of you know, you can do anything, was actually taught by the Western Bulldogs last year. You know, it's been taught really in other sporting codes as well. Leicester and teams like that, the Cronulla Sharks in the NRL. You know, it sends that message. Sport in general sends that message to kids that anyone, you know, no matter what you want to do, if you put your mind to it and work hard, you can achieve anything. And that's exactly what the Western Bulldogs did last year. And I think that's exactly why kids want to barrack for them, is because they've set this inspiring story like no other. So hopefully that answers your question in a very good fashion, Peter. Matt asks, who would be your 22 players picked against Collingwood? Look, I tossed and turned about this question all night last night, and it's a hard question, this one, because it's very, very hard, especially when we're the Premiership side and we've had some ins and some outs from last season. It is a very hard question to answer. I don't think there's many people who can actually predict the correct round one side. I think Beveridge will have a few tricks up his sleeve for round one against Collingwood. In saying that, though, I have put together a best 22. This is my prediction best 22 for against Collingwood. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? I'll start with the back line. I've got Dale Morris, Marcus Adams. I know a lot of people might be a bit shocked by that, and I know there's people that are you know, a lot of people are at his back during the pre-season because he's had such a poor pre-season, but he's only just come back from an injury. He's, you know, he missed a lot of the back end of last season, and so you got to expect that from Marcus. And he was one of our best backline players last year before he actually got injured. So I'm going to put him at full back. I actually have faith in the guy. Matthew Boyd there as well, rounding out the back line. The half back line, I've got Easton Wood, Zane Cordy, of course, a premiership player. Spent a bit of time down forward last year, but I think he's predominantly a backline player, so that's where I slot him. And then, of course, our captain Robert Murphy makes up the back line. Through the centre, I've got Jason Johannesson, Marcus Bontempelli, and Lockie Hunter. I think that's a pretty quick centre, centre, especially those two wing positions. And of course, Marcus Bontempelli through the centre, very, very dangerous. The half forward line, this was where I had a bit of trouble picking the forward line. Because obviously, you've got Tom Boyd, who's probably going to play that sole ruck position now that we've got Tom Campbell and Jordan Roughhead out. So this is kind of a tough scenario. I've put Ling Jong to start off things in the forward line there in the flank. Travis Cloak, I've put him up to half forward. I think he can play up the ground a fair bit and be really dangerous. And then I've got Stuart Cramery there on the other flank. Jake Stringer is in the pocket. I've put Clay Smith at full forward. This might be interesting to some people, but I think he's the man at the moment for our full forward position. Of course, Tom Boyd, you would say if Jordan Roughhead was rucking, you would say Tom Boyd would definitely be in the full forward position. But because our rucks are gone or injured, then you have to put someone in that full forward position. I think you could put Travis Cloak there, but I think it's better off putting him halfway down the forward line and have Clay Smith, who was outstanding in areas last year, especially in this forward line. I'd have him at full forward. He's at about 180 to 85 centimetres, so he's tall and he can play full forward, I reckon. And then Liam Picken is in the other pocket, and then I've got in the rucking role, I've got Tom Boyd. I have a lot of faith in Tim English, but I just think a couple of games in the VFL before we get him playing some frequent football would help. I'm sure he's going to play in the start of the season, no question about that, in the early parts of the season at least, considering Jordan Roughhead and Tom Campbell was out. It's definitely his time to shine, but I've got Tom Boyd in that ruck role, and then you could probably put Travis Cloak as a backup. I've got Luke Dalhouse and Tom Liberatore there in the followings, and then on the interchange I've got Matthew Suckling, Shane Biggs, Jack McRae and Caleb Daniel. I found it very, very hard to leave out Toby McLean, not Tom McLean, Toby McLean. I found it very hard to leave him out. it was really out of him or Lin Jong in this side, and I just thought Lin Jong had the better pre-season by only just, but they had similar pre-seasons. But in saying that, I've decided to go Lin Jong. I think he deserves his chance against Collingwood, and Toby McLean. I'm very unlucky to miss out, and that's where Beveridge is going to feel the headache, I reckon, and then Dunkley and English are the other emergencies. So that is my crack at the best 22 for Collingwood. That is my opinion anyway. I know a lot of people, some people will probably disagree with this, but that's okay because everyone has their opinions. Question asked by Alex Williamson states, is the game plan that won the flag last year be the same one that will win it this year, with umpires already saying that they will scrutinise the handballs and no more third men up, which helped us so much? Will it work as effectively? It's a very tough question, this one, because there's been some comments made during the off season and during this JLT Community Series as well that teams will try and copy us, and that's always the case. You know, the teams always look at the premiers and then see if they can add on anything from what they did to successfully win that grand final that year. Look, I think we can. I think we do have to try other things in this year's season to win the premiership. We can't just do the same thing, because I think teams will be more aware of what we do now and our game plan. So if we make some more additions to our game plan, like I think no one in the competition handballs it as fast and has a pacier team than us. We have a lot of fast, endurance, agility players that are very quick, and I don't think a team with not so many quick players could use our game plan, because you need to be really quick with your hands and really quick with your movement and really quick with your thinking as well in this sort of game plan. So look, I'm a bit 50-50 on this. I think we can still continue to use our game plan from last year, but I think we do need to continue to improve it and continue to add on things to make it even harder, or make it, I guess, so that we can actually defend our title from 2016. So it's a very tough question, that one. Of course, I don't think the third man will hurt us too much. I'm actually happy that rule has been thrown out. I think it would be great to see just the two rucks go at it, and so I don't think we relied too much on the third man last year. But Beveridge is a good coach. He'll know what to do, and he'll know how to go about defending our premiership from last year. Red WB asks an interesting question, says, Mr. Bevis, what in your opinion makes a great supporter of our club? Well, I think if you're a loyal supporter, so those people, those many people who stuck by us through and through, even through the hard times, through our very darkest times, right up until the premiership of last year, that's what makes a real great supporter of our club. I think not being too criticising of our club, I think is what makes a great supporter of our club. Just the passion. If you show really good passion for the Western Bulldogs, then that makes a great supporter of our club. There's many other things as well. Going to the games, watching every game, whether it's at the game or on TV. Like I think I'm a great supporter by watching every game on the TV. I can't go to every single game, but I do think I'm still a great supporter by watching it on TV, and I do try to go to my fair share of games. But being loyal, not being too criticising, sticking through the club, sticking with the club through and through, and so forth. I think that's what makes a great supporter, and I know there's many of them out there, and I think the most inspiring thing is those who have and what makes the most greatest supporter of all is those that have stuck through us from our dark times right up until our glory times, which was last year. So that's what makes a great supporter of our great club, the Western Bulldogs. Gee, I love this club. Last but not least is a question from Michael Gutterson. He asks, why do some of our fans jump at so many shadows and overact at the drop of a hat? Rather than making idiotic comments, wait for the game or a game to actually pan out first. It's frustrating to say the least. Apologies for my absence of late, by the way. I'm right behind you and your amazing work. Keep punching, as Scotty Palmer used to say. Thank you very much, Michael, for those kind words at the end. And I hear your point. In fact, I wanted to address this issue last week, but I decided not to, and I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't want to offend anyone. But yeah, it's fair to say there's some supporters, not all, a minority of supporters who jump at the gun and this was the case. This has been the case for the last two games, the Brisbane Lion one and then the Gold Coast Suns. People are very, very criticising of us performing in practice games. Like, the thing about the JLT Community Series, which some people don't understand, is that it's not about winning. The NAB Cup is not about winning anymore. Well, not even the NAB Cup anymore, but when it was the NAB Cup, it was all about winning, like, because you were playing for a trophy. But now it's not about winning anymore. It's about getting match fit and seeing young players and seeing players kind of build up their momentum and also seeing coaches use and try different structures. And that's exactly what Beveridge would have done. In fact, that question before about our game plan, you know, Beveridge would have been trying so many other new styles of gameplay in those practice games. And that's what people don't understand. You know, I would be happy if I watched the practice games, the JLT Community Series games. If the score wasn't there, I'd be happy. You know, it'd be fantastic because the score doesn't matter. Let's face it. You don't get anything for winning or losing these games. It's as simple as that. So, and yeah, look, you know, people who you know, the people who comment during the game and make negative comments, it's like, please, just wait for the game to finish before you actually make a statement. Like, you know, I feel quite, I'd feel for those people who commented during the game on Thursday night. And they would have made a fool out of themselves because the Dogs came back and won that game by 21 points. So, look, I do know what you're saying, Michael, and you do have a point. There is a minor of people who feel like they need to comment during a game and when they really should wait until the game is finished. And there's also those people who are really attached to these practice games, and it's like they're not even you know. They're not even games that matter in terms of scores. So, and just another point as well, we actually finished the JLT, well, we actually finished the NAB Challenge last year, 2 losses, 1 win, and look what happened last year. So, no matter what happens in this this pre-season series, it's nothing compared to the real comp. And that is it for this episode of After the Dogs Roar for 2017. Thank you very much for clicking on and watching. I really do appreciate it. It means a hell of a lot. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, share this video, subscribe, and stay tuned to more episodes of this fantastic show. This is, well, my favourite show. I love presenting this show. Out of all the shows I do, I think this one is most definitely my favourite, and I cannot wait to get stuck into next week's episode because I'll be previewing our first game of the AFL season, and that is against Collingwood on a Friday night at the G. I cannot wait for that, so do not miss next week's episode. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. So until then, I'm Jacob. Bye for now.